one. Hello. Welcome to the episode. Today with me is Ankita Jagtiani. She's a life coach, and she is very, very great at helping people inside of the corporate world to de-stress and to really improve their lives. I cannot wait to share her story with you guys today. Thanks so much, Ankita.
Hi, Bryce. Thank you so much for having me here. I've been seeing all your video clips and they look fantastic. So I think you're doing a great job.
Thanks. I really appreciate you. You know, is there anything else you'd like me to add to the introduction? I know that you've done a lot in your career, and I'd love to be able to do your story a justice. So anything else you'd like to add?
So you already mentioned I'm a life coach. I'm also a youth leadership coach. So I work with young individuals primarily. But actually, what is really interesting is how I got here. Because before this, I was working in events and hospitality. And moving out of college, I had like my 5 years planned completely. I knew I'd probably end up with owning an event agency. Of course, 1 year later, that did happen. So my last stint was with a restaurant in the hospitality industry, and I met this one person for I think few minutes because it was her last day. She was a chef. It was her last day, and it was my first day on the job, and I was doing business development for them. And 6 months later, she called me and she said, "Hey, I've started my business. I know this is what you do. I'm a good chef, but I don't know the business side of it. Can you help me?" And I said, "Okay, sure." So a complete acquaintance, really. Met her in a coffee shop. And I think 60 minutes after, she had changed my life. Because we were just trying to brainstorm and I was helping her with the business side. And before I realized that, I was talking to her about her behavior, her mindset, what really went into doing what she was doing. And when I walked out, I felt amazing and so satisfied. And that's where my journey started.
Okay, cool. So, what do people usually either struggling with, or why do people tend to come to you?
So I think when I look at individuals, they come to me for, of course, different things that they're facing in their lives. A lot of them are so ambitious and just want to do so much and need a little help and guidance there. So like I said earlier, I work with a lot of young people. So yes, I would say mainly I have people who want to improve their careers, who are very aspirational, and also with companies to train young leaders. Now, what happens is people are good at their work and they're given leadership roles, but then they don't know how to manage a team, right? So I help them through the coaching process. I help them to become more effective and more efficient leaders.
Okay. And what is the main quality that you see, or yeah, what makes someone a good leader? I guess excellent.
Good question. I think it's to be vulnerable, to be able to stand up and say, "Hey, this didn't work very well for me. I maybe didn't make the right choice, but now let's work together and see what we can do next."
Okay. So what is, if someone wants to be an aspiring leader, they're inside of a company, and maybe they're just starting out, or they're a young person, what is the first skill that they should really develop in order to become a leader down the road?
I think the first skill is to be open-minded. I think it's important to accept as a leader that you will never know everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to not know everything. So there was a session that I was doing recently on leading through this time during COVID. And that was one of the very important things that I said. During a crisis, you do not need to think that because you're the leader, you have all the answers. right? Because you're human at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I think that's very important, to be open-minded and to accept that you don't know everything, and and that kind of involves the team to do something great together.
Mm. Can I ask you this question? So why do you think a lot of people struggle in teams? Like outside, is it literally because of the vulnerability, they want to look stupid, or why do they struggle in teams?
Why do people struggle, or why do leaders struggle?
Well, I think leaders are people, so I guess it would be easier to talk about people first, and then maybe leaders second.
Sure. So I think people struggle because of a simple thing, and this also goes back to when we were in school. For example, you don't want to ask a silly question because people around you will laugh, right? So of course here it's similar, right? You don't want to sound stupid, you don't want to look stupid, because you don't know one thing that you might say, the environment that's going to create. So I think it's important for a leader here to create that safe space for everybody in the team.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, unfortunately, for me, like I kind of live in this world where I don't really deal with a lot of people, so I never have to worry about like getting laughed at. So that's why it's interesting. That's really cool. Um, can I ask you this question? So when dealing with stress, what do you think causes the most stress for people, or what causes the most stress for people?
Their thoughts, they themselves.
Yeah.
So I think, where does your stress start from? It starts from what you're thinking, what your mindset is,
Mhm.
right? And going back to the previous point where we say people don't want to ask a question because they feel that they might be judged. But the thing is, they may not be judged. It's just that thought that they have seeded into themselves.
So can I ask you this question? So is it better to work to remove that negative voice, or would you add a positive voice in your head?
I think when you add a positive voice, the negative voice starts drowning out. So I had put up this story yesterday on my Instagram, where I spoke about exactly this. How creating a positive sound, or looking at the positives, can make the negatives look smaller.
Mhm.
And somebody messaged me back saying that, is this really true? When your negatives are so much, how can you look at the positives? And I really appreciated that, and it made me think so much. And I said, yeah, but that's why I had this answer ready, that the minute you look at the negatives, your positives become much smaller.
Mm.
Because so I also attended the seminar once a couple of months ago, and this guy goes on stage and he says 2 plus 2 is 4, 3 plus 3 is 7, 4 plus 4 is 8, and 5 plus 5 is 10. And everybody raised their hand. They're like, no, 3 plus 3 is not 7, it's 6, right?
Mm.
So his point was, when I've said 4 things, one was wrong, but you only caught on to that.
Mm. Yeah, interesting. That's really cool. I'll tell you about that in a minute.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this then. So it's obviously a process to start listening and focusing on that positive. But oftentimes when people are like, doing a new habit, they fall back into the old one. Do you have any tips for them to, like, when they start falling back into that negative focus, how to get back out of that?
I think it's important to understand why you're looking at that. So I always say, you question your thought.
Mm.
First, allow yourself to think. The minute you're in a negative space does not mean you start playing Candy Crush on your phone, or people say, when someone goes through a breakup, and I'm sure this is everyone would have kind of can relate to this. The first advice your friends give you is distract yourself. No, deal with it. Ask yourself why. So if you have a negative thought, if you keep questioning that, you'll actually understand why you're feeling so and what you should do to overcome it.
Okay. Interesting. So, I think we talked about this question beforehand. What's your vision for your life?
I think it's to, of course, if I have to just say it in one word, to add value to people. But my real vision is to add value to people and create that network so that they can add value to others. So it's kind of a multiplying effect, and I hope I can create that network at some point in my life. And I'm starting doing that now. I'm working on it from now.
Okay, that's really nice. What does the word value mean to you?
Value means um, to have something concrete, and by concrete that I mean something that is important to you, that satisfies you.
Okay. So
Yeah,
it's different for everybody what that value looks like.
absolutely. If I can, if somebody talks to me and says thank you, this helped me, I feel okay. That's adding value to somebody. If someone
Hmm.
smiles, that's adding value.
Uh, okay. Cool. That's really cool. I like that. Um, yeah.
So let me ask you, Bryce, what's adding value to you? What's value for you?
See, that's why that word always confuses me because I'm like, value to me might in one scenario. For example, if I'm at a dance class, if you teach me a new dance move, that's value in that moment.
Sure.
I guess being shown something is valuable.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. No,
cool.
that's wonderful.
Yeah, that's why it's like that's always like a hard word for me to grasp, the value, because like everybody talks about value, but everybody means something different. So can I
Yeah.
ask you this question? So then, how do you? Well, we'll talk about that later. So, what is success to you?
I think success to me is having meaningful relationships, and like I mentioned before, to have added value. And this can happen in a very small way. You can feel success every day, every week, every month, or after 10 years of your career. So this reminds me of one of my first projects that I did, and at a friend's company, and they run a digital marketing agency called the Starter Labs in Bombay, very well known company. And I said, can I do this session? I just started out, and can I help you guys, and can I'd like to do this. And I did a session there, and I said, okay, great. They said it was good. They gave me some feedback, appreciated a couple of things, and I said, okay, fine, that was probably okay. And 6 months later, they called me and they said, we've got some new people. Our team is suggesting you to do the same session for them.
Hmm, nice.
And some of the people from the previous session, even though it was exactly the same session, attended even this session. So I felt in that moment that was success for me.
Mm, interesting. That's really cool. Yeah, I'm glad that you're able to help out, those companies. That's really a needed skill right now, and needed, you know, it's really needed right now, especially like when people are, you know, feeling trapped and feeling. Oh, so
So
how are you speaking to companies now? Is it mostly virtual or?
yeah, all of it is virtual. Everything's on Zoom now.
Yeah, because I know like at least where I am, a lot of people are like furloughed, so a lot of people aren't necessarily working right now.
Sure.
That's kind of cool.
Sure.
Interesting. So where can people actually no, there's actually one more. Are you working on any special projects or anything cool that you'd like to tell anybody about or?
Yes, so I've dedicated this time that I've had. I've dedicated it to create modules on leadership and leading through uncertainty, and also walking through uncertainty. So leading through uncertainty deals with how do leaders lead their teams in a time like this that they've never faced before. And Walking Through Uncertainty talks about how you manage your stress, how you are walking through this time. And I'm doing this right now pro bono for companies, because my main aim is to help as many people as I can right now through my work.
That's nice. How can people learn more about you, and where can they connect with you?
I think, Bryce, the best way is Instagram. So my coaching, I have a coaching profile called Ankita Jagtiani _coaching. So if they DM me, I'm pretty responsive. I try to be very responsive there. And I have a website as well, www.ankitajagtiani.com. So they can just submit a form there if they have questions, or they can learn about me there.
Right, cool. If you guys look under her picture, her name is there. It's spelled Ankita space Jagtiani. Are you gonna pick it out? It's not spelled like that. The speaker on stage. Remember the speaker on stage?
I wasn't sure if you're going to cut that out or not, so I kept quiet.
No. It's so I wanted to see if you would pick out the negative.
I did, but I said, okay, it's your show. I don't want to point that finger out.
Well, to say, you see, guys, but that's what happens when you train your mindset to be positive. You can allow things to roll off your shoulders. Her actual profile is spelled Ankita space Jagtiani. You said _coaching?
Yes.
Excellent. But guys, if you want to get more positive and not really focus on the negative, I recommend that you go and join our community. There's going to be a link either above or below the video. All it is a mastermind community where we're constantly trying to improve our mindset and take ourselves to the next level. And we have great interviews and great content for people just like Ankita, who is helping people to improve their lives and helping the world have more value being added to it. So if that is what you are interested in learning more about and being a part of, I recommend you go click the link either above or below the video. Thank you so much, Ankita. I really appreciate your time and really appreciate, the lessons you taught today.
Thanks, Bryce. It was great being here. And I again want to tell you what you're doing is absolutely fabulous. And I had a great time chatting with you today.
Excellent. Thanks so much. Really appreciate you. I'll talk to you guys soon. We're done recording in 3 and 2 and 1.